Hey, everybody. Today's discussion may contain some sensitive subjects around assault. And so, I want to put a trigger warning on this episode. We want you to take care of yourself and be safe. This isn't for you. We understand. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time. We love you.
What's up, y'all? I'm PC McCray. You can call me P.
Hey, y'all. My name is Shonda Head. You can call me Shonda Head. And this is the Everything Has Changed podcast.
From 2 college roommates to 40-something adults, life has been lifing, and we want to talk about it.
We are the new adults, y'all.
How did that happen?
I don't know, P, but we got to talk about it.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Hey, Shaun. Hello.
Hey, P.
What it do?
Nothing's doing.
Okay. Well, and that's all right. Sometimes you're like, I'm here. I'm just here. Amen.
We're
That's it.
here. Yes. We're absolutely,
We're
we are
here.
here. I
That's
can
all
say
right.
that. Yeah. What's going on with you?
That's good. Same.
Okay.
I'm here, and I'm going to claim today being a good day. That's where my mind is.
Well, it is a good day because
Yes.
we have a new segment that we're starting this week, right? Tell us about it. Tell the folks.
New segment, folks.
No.
It's called Keep It to Yourself, put it in the group chat, or post it. We are 40-something adults, and we grew up in the age where we didn't have to say everything. We didn't have to post it. Everybody didn't have to know everything.
There's no posting.
There's no posting. You might get on the phone call and talk to your friends and gossip, or just keep some things to yourself. Just keep it in your mind. That's it. Everything didn't have to be shared. All your full opinion on every single thing did not have to be shared. And so I was like, okay. In my mind, I played this little game like, they should have kept that in the group chat.
Yeah.
Or to themselves. And so bringing it to the show, the first one, who really is an easy target because he always puts his foot in his mouth like all the time. But Paul Pierce.
It's going to happen.
Former NBA, it's going to happen. Former NBA player Paul Pierce says marriage is only for the poor and the old, claiming he won't get married until he's 70. He also says marriage offers no benefit for man, only for women.
70 is wild.
Wild.
Just say you're not going to get married. I don't know why.
Okay. Paul Pierce. So that's one of those where, you know what? Keep that to yourself. That's a keep it to yourself.
Do we know how old Paul Pierce is?
He's in his mid to late 40s. I can do a quick Google and see what pops up for Paul Pierce. But he's continued to say and do things since he's 47. Yeah, he'll be 48 in October. But he's continued to say and do questionable things since he's retired.
Yeah, because okay. I know he's retired, but didn't he? Listen, I could be making this up, but did he have like a correspondent job
He
after
did.
retire, and he got fired because of the stripper on the live
Correct.
stream?
He would continue to be drunk, like wasted.
Oh, he was
during his broadcasts and saying wild stuff. Wild.
Wait. He was
yeah.
drinking. Okay, broadcast what, like TNT, like a ABC, like was he live on air and drinking alcohol on air?
He and Kevin Garnett had a live thing going for a while. And he would continue as the show got popular and went on, he would show up drunk.
But when you say live thing, do you mean on a channel or on their social media?
Was it a YouTube station? Let me pull it up. Paul Pierce and...
Because I remember the stripper thing, but that was not during a... He was live with that, but that was not during a sports thing.
No,
right?
But they had...
But the thing with Kevin Garnett...
They had a thing.
We'll put it in the show notes.
They had an actual contracted show and he was coming in drunk and saying too much, again, stuff that should have stayed in his mind. In his head, he was saying out loud. And after a while, they were like, all right, you got to go. We can't do this anymore with you because you don't know how to behave. So he's continued to say and do things that it's like, all right, well, so that's the new segment. From now on, I'm going to kind of look at things and see what could have stayed in the group chat. And there are some things, if you just want to talk about it, you can just put it in your group chat. You don't have to post it all, or just keep it in your head. Just keep it to yourself. So that's going to be the thing. That's going to be the new segment
and this is
coming.
the first one. Okay, I vote that. Wait, here's the thing: group chat is supposed to be a safe space.
Yeah, that's the point.
I do think everybody in the group chat is supposed to know it's a safe space. And so then you gotta make sure you're in the group chat with the right people, because what if they be like, you know who would love to know what Paul Pierce just said? The shade room. So then everybody gotta be like equally yoked or whatever for that.
The group chat, if you have your secret keepers, your ride or dies.
Yes.
Just to say stuff off the wall that you don't want to say out loud, but you do want to say something. That's what the group chat is for.
Get it off your chest.
Just
and you know
say it.
you won't be judged. Or
That part.
you might be judged, but it won't like end your friendship.
Am I crazy for thinking XYZ?
Well,
Girl,
you
no.
know,
I thought
like-
the same. That's what we're talking about. And then there's still some things you just keep to yourself.
I do feel like if he got a group chat, it's gonna be all men. And so I feel like him saying something like that in a male group chat is probably right along the lines of what of what a group chat is for. Like, I think he could have put that in his group chat and been just fine.
Yeah.
Because his boys, it wouldn't have been a big thing to his boys. They might be thinking the same thing in their head. But is it true? Meanwhile, I am a non-married, so I might can't give the best opinion on this, because I'm not biased though, because I do think I'm not biased. I like married people. I like people to be married. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I'm like, wait,
I like
what?
people to be married. I want to see it. I love it. You know, I already told you I was maid of honor at my best friend's wedding. So you stand up there, it's all quiet. They saying their vows and stuff. And I don't know, her husband said something, and it just made me emotional. And I was like, I'm so happy for her. And I was like, and you know how you cry and it comes out where it's like a sound?
You had an audible cry?
You had an audible cry.
While they were doing their vows? Okay. All right.
Actually, it wasn't during their vows, because it had to be when her dad was giving her away, because he looked at me like, get your shit together.
Like, girl, tighten up.
So it had to be when, tighten up. It had to be when her dad was giving her away. But I was very emotional. So I love it. I love it. But I just need Paul Pierce to know that married men live longer than unmarried men.
That's what
So
they
the
say.
fact that he said he's gonna get married at 70 gives me pause, because, sir, you might need to get married before then if you're trying to make it there, my guy.
God bless the woman that comes into his world, because, but she should know. She should know what she's getting into. I mean, he clearly, like I said, his history is out there of what he says. So that's the new segment. We're gonna keep it to yourself, keep it in the group chat, or go ahead and post it and say it. That's fine. You could do that. It also brings me to, which has been cracking me up, another Twitter thing someone has posted that has now made it to like mainstream media. There are articles from scientists on NPR. Rolling Stone did an article, 100 men versus a silverback gorilla.
Okay, so I saw Kevin Hart's video about this. It might have been yesterday or day before,
Oh
and
my God.
I don't know whose show I was. It was probably listening to like Joe Budden or something, and they were talking about the 100 Men and the gorilla. But I didn't stay long enough to figure out what the thing was. You know, like the man versus bear thing in the woods,
Oh,
like
that's
that
different.
thing. I was like, okay, this is one of those things. But then I saw Kevin Hart's video, and
No, no, no.
I was
This
like,
this
whatever. I don't
one,
believe it, sir.
they said, the scientists are like, the size of a large silverback is 440 pounds, easy. And with one punch could shatter a skull.
Jesus.
And so, there's another scientist. He's like, you know what? If the men would strategize, maybe they could wear out said gorilla. A lot of men would be killed and injured. If they go in waves to attack this gorilla, it could be possible. But
That's
the
the only
fact
way.
that this is a thing was cracking me up. Men are like, oh no, we could do it. We could do it. We could kill this gorilla. We could do it. Several of you would die. Horrible deaths with one punch.
I
One
think they
punch.
know some of them would die. I think they just think that they would be one of the ones that live.
Of course.
And I'm not even because they did the right. It's just like if it's 100 of y'all, I'll be at the back. Like, let me be. Once like 3/4 of y'all got him under control, just let me come in.
So that's what the scientist said. Eventually working with that one gorilla, after a while, you may have worn them out and then that back end. But that first group, God bless. Yeah. God bless
And then
them.
how would they choose? They would have to pull
Exactly.
straws or something. So God forbid you get like one of the first 10, you out of there.
Child. It's just so, I'm like, this is what we're talking about. This is, the world is blowing up in smoke and we're talking about 100 men versus a gorilla.
This
It's
is how
funny.
this
It's
is
funny.
what we have to do to maintain our sanity.
Yeah. Men and their delusion. I love it. It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
that's what it is.
It's hilarious.
I do wonder what segment of not to male bash,
Nope.
but men and their delusion is funny because it seems like all these random ass conversations are always around men and their delusion. I seen something the other day. Oh my gosh. I should have screenshot or something so I could remember it. Cause somebody was saying it was back to the man versus bear thing, meaning if a woman were in the woods, would she rather see a bear coming or a man coming? And
A
so most
random man.
women were like, man, a bear actually would be the safer bet. And that really pissed men off. And
Yes.
so the thing is, then it's like, okay, so are you actually not following along? And so let's say you're not one of those men. Let's say. Are you cool? Great. But then for you, if that kind of stuff to piss you off, then it's like, so you don't watch the news and you don't follow like the number one killer of like pregnant women. Let's set aside Black maternal mortality, but the number one killer of pregnant women is their domestic partner. If I'm not mistaken, I can find the stats on that. But why how you living in this world and you don't know how dangerous it is to be a woman, So it's like it's great that you're not one of those people, but then also if you can't acknowledge real life, then that puts you in a tier that ain't the best tier. Even if you ain't the guy doing that, if you can ignore all these things, then that does put you in a bucket of you also aren't the safest, space. So it is interesting to hear. To me, it's more the feedback it's the responses to me that are telling versus because somebody was like
Very much.
that's what I saw. The lady was like, the problem is that you can't because they're like, oh, not all men. And
Sure.
she was like, yes, right. But the problem is that it's I gotta find it. I gotta find it, P.
You gotta find it. 'Cause
I gotta
that
find
was
it.
an interesting that was similar to the 100 Men versus Gorilla. So, just to give it a little bit more context too, there was
Please.
this it started on Twitter, I
Of course it
believe.
did.
Um, would a woman if a woman was stuck in the middle of a forest or somewhere by herself and came across a bear or a man, who would she feel safer with at that time, who wouldn't
Yes.
mess with her?
Yeah.
And a lot of women were like, "The bear." Because of yes, there are some excellent guys, there's some amazing guys who are truly protectors, but that sometimes it's the weirdos, and if you're in the middle of the woods, as women, we have to think about our safety. They don't have to think about going out in the middle of the night. "Oh, Imma run to the store real quick at 2 a.m." Like, a woman
Right.
we would never think to do that alone. We don't have to they don't have to text each other, "Hey, I'm in this Uber with this driver." You don't have to do that as a guy as much.
Right.
We have to
Right.
consider all of these steps when we are in the presence of men. Not all men, but we have to. We have to. We
Yeah,
just have to.
you don't know who's in that category, so you have to
Mhm.
prepare regardless. And also, don't let me go out at 2 like,
No.
you have it's if you have if there is a man in the house and I'm talking about I'm finna go get something at 2 a.m., that's clearly because 'cause you're not finna go get you gonna let me go by myself?
Right.
Is you not even gonna ride? Like, I'm a woman.
Absolutely not. And
I
they know that though. I
That's the
think
thing.
men know men. So the problem was it was coming from women.
Exactly.
They were upset with the women and their responses. But men know men. If you have homeboys who are like, "Yeah, no, don't talk to him." And I have amazing men in my life, like homeboys, friends, and I love
Yeah.
that, who could just tell me because they really do think differently. Men are on a different planet. I'm like, "Did that really make sense to you?" And the way they break it down, I'm like, "Okay, well, okay." But I love the fact that I have truly platonic friendships with men, and they will straight up and be like, "No, don't. That's not the one you wanna. Not you. Not you. You don't talk to him." So they know.
There is definitely there's value in having friendships with the opposite sex, especially if you date the opposite sex, there's value in that. You get a lot of game. Like, I don't mean
A
game.
lot.
I'm saying
Okay.
game, but in the what I mean is you learn things. That's what I'm trying to say. You learn things you might not have known. You just sitting around, trying to figure a man out with your girlfriends versus sitting down with your homeboys and overhearing things or listening, let to whatever they got to say about it. So it's definite value in that. But you do know, P, that I have this conversation with my friends all the time. It's like some people feel like though you can't have platonic friendships with the opposite sex. And I don't I I do think that's a thing. I do think I think it's harder. It is definitely harder. And then depending on like where you work or what your schooling look like or all these different things, you might find yourself in these just depend on who you're around. So I do think it'd be
Yeah.
harder. It is harder to find platonic friendships with people of the opposite sex. That being said though, but you also can do it ain't, it's harder, but that doesn't mean I do think it's possible because that's my experience. So I understand
Right.
people who have a separate experience think it's something
Sure.
differently because that's their experience. And that's what we got to go on. So
yeah, your personal experience. And for me, my personal experience is I have some very strong platonic friendships with men. And we could just talk about stuff. But essentially 1 in 5 women will have been sexually assaulted and or raped in their lives. 1 in 5.
that's 20%. That's a
Yep.
that's a big number.
Huge number.
And I also think that people don't really grasp how many people don't say anything. Because even at 1 in 5, that's just what they know.
Right.
But what we know is that most people actually don't say anything.
Yep.
So
Because they'd be torn
20%
apart.
is probably much higher. Hey friends, we're so thankful for your support. If you want to be updated whenever we drop a new episode or when we drop some of the special things we've got coming, head on over to everythinghaschangedpodcast.com and drop us your email so you can stay locked in. Cool? Cool. And it's like people can't even acknowledge that that's true. But what they do acknowledge is the people that they feel like are lying. Like the lady who had to drop her case and stuff against Jay-Z. I will say this. I am sorry. This is my opinion. I just
Not a
feel
deep
like,
breath.
yeah, I had to, because I don't know what people, but also this, I'm not gonna say I don't care, but this my opinion is when it's a white woman, then I think because of the history around white women, what's the right word? Attacking black men, but that's
False
not
accusations.
thank you. Give me the word. You know I don't be having words
Emmett
sometimes.
Till.
It's like we could
Yeah.
list.
Yes.
You know, even the Tulsa massacre started that
Yes.
way.
Yes. Just by
Rosewood
looking at
started
them.
that way. It's a thing. It's historical. It's historically accurate. So Sunny on The View used to be I guess she still is a prosecutor, but she used to specifically prosecute sex crimes. And so she said the actual percentage of women who falsify these accusations is like 2%.
Right.
And I want to say I heard her say this like last year or so, or maybe no, it was probably around the whole puffy stuff. So like last year. So that's as of 2024, 2%. That's tiny. So in my head, I'm like, okay, if it is 2% of women are don't tell the truth when they accuse. It seems like to me, every time you see it and it's been cleared, like by evidence and stuff, or cases drop, whatever, it seems like to me, it's always a white woman. So I'm just saying, because even like here in Georgia, I remember when I was coming up through high school, there was some pretty big cases that came out, white girls,
The football player?
accusing, football players. So then ruin their life and stuff. Then it comes out, oh, my daddy had told me to say this or that or whatever. And it's like, thank you for telling the truth. This guy's life is changed. On the other hand, decisions, again, we talk about decisions that you make. That in that case, I think was like those were high schoolers.
Yeah.
But nowadays we look at Shannon Sharpe. Decisions.
Okay.
So it's like no matter what the case, you made that decision, but just in what I see, just what I just observe is the right word. Again, I got to find my word. Is a lot of times when it comes down to these cases and we find out that the accuser wasn't telling the truth, it seems like an inordinate amount of time that those are white women versus black men. So it feels like to me it's still a whole thing of cases of just history repeating. It's like it's not something that people have been able to tamp down on. People have let it run rampant, and so it's still going. So now that being said, I'm not saying every white woman who accuses a black man is lying. I'm just saying that if 2% of accusers aren't actually truthful, and if you look at the cases, majority of those accusers are white women versus black men. And I just think
Yeah.
that that's something that we need to be paying attention to. It's almost like when I think of the history around it, it's almost like it's one of those things like, or let me make it smaller, much smaller. It's like if you live in a family and they're like, hey, this is how we handle things. If we have something if something happens to us that we don't like, then what we do is we go say this. So if you think of that in terms of like a race of people, it just seems like somebody was like, all you got to do is say this. And yes, that happened back during slavery and got people lynched and killed and parts cut off and all these things. And then it went into just after people were enslaved. And that was still, it was still a way to hold control over a whole group of people. And it's still happening. And that's just, it's frustrating. And so at the end of the day, it's like, hey, how about like, or Jonathan, you could just like, not. And then maybe when you're on the literal cusp, the literal peak of your career, people want to say, oh, it's a setup. They're trying to bring the black man down. Absolutely it is. How come you don't recognize that? Because that you be getting set up, why are you making these decisions that lead you into the setup? It's always going to be a setup. You're going to have the number one movie. You're going to have the number one podcast show. You're going to sign a $150 million deal. You know what I mean? You're going to make your directorial debut. And if there's something that can be brought on you, they're going to bring it on you because you're a black man. So why is you out here like, yeah, bring it. Bring it.
Yes, and those particular guys, Shannon and Jonathan, what's his last name? They did those things.
No, but
So,
what I'm saying,
and have a history of
that's
it.
what I'm saying. When they come out and say, oh, they're shaking me down, it's like, of
Don't
course they're
behave that
shaking you
way.
down. Yeah, like, of course. And then you're going to behave that way with a white woman? You really think that you're going to get over? You're a black man. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, my thing with Shannon Sharpe, sir, you're 56, 54, and she's a 20-year-old. She does OnlyFans, but you
19
met
when
her
they met.
at the gym. What?
He didn't meet
What are
that
you?
lady at the gym. He met that lady on OnlyFans.
Well, that's what they're saying. They were dating. And the catalyst of her saying all these things is when that video of him, that sex tape of him with old Michelle came out. Apparently she got mad and decided to come after him.
Michelle done came out too now.
Yeah. There's
Also
a
a white
few.
lady.
So
And
he
so
has a history of this behavior that he's been able to get away with up until now. But like you said, now this $150 million price tag is on him. So they're coming after him even more. So it's like, why don't you think
that's what I'm saying. And
with
let me be
your
clear.
brain?
When I'm mentioning Shannon and Jonathan
Majors.
and Majors, and then I'm thinking of Nate. I can't remember his name, but his career left after he was accused, after he made his directorial debut. It's like, but I'm not for them, for Shannon and Jonathan, I'm not actually speaking to like these things didn't happen because it's a white lady, because those things are still well, I don't really know about Jonathan Majors, but I know he got a pass going with that. Shannon is still in the middle, so I don't know. I can only speak to the stuff that's already over and done with. But I was leading into that conversation because I'm like, there's a thing that happens, and I have outright heard this. I'm a small business owner. I run in these business circles. I have different coaches from time to time. I like lady coaches because they know what we got to deal with. Sometimes I have men coach, and it's so interesting when I'm in a setting where it's men, where it's Black men that make money.
Mm-hmm.
There's comments that always come up like, money is the equalizer. Like, if you make X amount of money, they can't say nothing to you. Lies. And it's so hard to listen to because it's like they think they can get on the same level societally, or whatever the word is, with white men. That's one way of thinking, but then it inevitably leads into another way of thinking, which is like, I can do all this stuff that they do because now we on the same playing field. No, you can't. Look at Bill Cosby. And so then people always want to say, well, they trying to bring the Black man down. The Black man out here trying to act like a criminal white man and thinking that they not going to get hit because they got X amount of money. No, you can't just go be a criminal because the white man next to you is a criminal and he living life. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's always going to come back to you. I don't care how much money you make. And so every single time it happens, when they get to peak, like, and I don't want to say peak like they weren't going to get any higher, but when they really, it's your time. When
On that
it's your
rocket.
time, somebody is back there looking through the files, trying to see what you got, and they're going to pull it out immediately. And I don't know why they're just not getting this, and it's so hard to watch. You know what I mean? It's just, oh, it's so hard to watch because then you brought this on yourself. You out here trying to act like, because they always want to say they want to go after the Black man, but not the white man. Yes, that's what it is.
That's what they do.
Exactly.
They do want to go after. You can only get
That's the
so
whole point.
high. And you might get up there and you can get away with a few things here or there, but they don't want you to get too high. And if you piss
That's
off the
it.
wrong person, it's a wrap.
That's it.
It's a wrap.
Puffy sued Diageo.
It's a wrap.
Next thing you know, they was like, we heard about you.
Uh-huh. Did seem like, oh, okay. All the protection, everything that has protected him
all the
over these
protection's gone.
years.
Yep.
And nobody.
Too big for your britches.
Too big.
Too big.
Jury they're trying to get a jury right now as we speak.
Yes. And rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
But look at your criminal ass.
This
like,
whole time.
Oh, now don't you wish now? Just
he was able to get away with it.
Yeah, and that's how they get them. And meanwhile, Black women just be sitting over here like, we try to tell you. But yeah, but in a lot of these cases, it's like white women. Even like with Bill Cosby, it was so many women, and it was like one or two of them were Black. And it's like, if it's that many white women, like, you're not getting out of this. Like, you should not think that if you're doing any kind of criminal activity and it involves a white woman, just pack your bags up now. Just don't do the criminal activities. And, stay Black and die.
Shannon being on ESPN, which is a Disney company, we knew that was a wrap. He got away with it with that first tape again.
With Michelle.
They probably were like, hey,
hey guys,
this can't happen again. We're going to let it slide since you say it was an accident and that you don't know how to use Instagram and so on and so forth. We just don't let it happen again. Don't let anything happen again. And then here we go. No, sir, you can't be on any of our channels anymore.
He's talking about he'll be back by preseason. Disney ain't say that.
Right.
ESPN did not say that. We supposed to listen to you?
Voluntarily stepping down.
Multiple people. It's
multiple.
Oh. Now, I will say, I am wondering, like, how it's going to affect his show, because, like, his show isn't owned by Disney, but, of course, he has a lot of sponsors. But then if you was watching before, his sponsors would be, like,
Them
erection
sex
pills.
pills.
And yeah, like
Yes.
they ain't okay, those people are still gonna be there. So I am curious to see how it's going to affect his show.
It hasn't, from what
But
I've seen. You know, doing production, he may have recorded these a
yes,
while ago, and so there may be a
absolutely.
schedule. But specifically that nightcap show, while he was
Oh
supposed
yeah.
to be an actual analyst on ESPN during the NFL draft, no, he just put it on his show. And that's totally completely separate. That same day when he put out that little statement that he copied and pasted from his attorney,
From his
he didn't even. Oh God, it was clear that it was a text message. You didn't even take the time
It's just
to Jesus Christ. So, but no, he was doing he and Chad were doing an NFL draft show that same day. So he's keeping it moving.
and
That show
Chad
is
got his
keeping it
own
moving.
history.
Exactly.
So it's just but it is really crazy to watch the clips of people sitting on Shannon's couch, literally having told this man
What are
a
you
year
doing?
ago. And why people don't listen?
They
They
told
really
him.
be thinking they above. And it's like, yes. So apparently, so his show gonna be all right. YouTube people make buku money. So
Yep.
if you come on YouTube with an already built audience, you're gonna be fine. But that being said, I don't know how he's going to be accepted in spaces that he's been accepted in for his entire life. Like if he is now in his 50, you say he was 57? Did I make that
Get
up?
his
He's in his
direct.
50s
Let me double check.
playing football since a kid in the NFL. It's
Hall
like
of Famer.
how like I do
You know,
wonder
he's
because that's his
56.
whole life, 56. So now
He'll
it's
be
like
57 in June.
57 in June. So it's like, are you gonna be invited to the things that are you gonna is your network gonna be the same basically? And so some people might be like, well, who cares? Well, this man is not this man has lived his entire life in this. So I do wonder what that's gonna look like for him. But that being said, I have not listened to any Shannon Sharpe recording or whatever since I heard Michelle one time. I didn't need to hear it no more. So when I
Yeah.
heard there was another video or recording, I'm not listening to that. I mean, I did hear the piece of him threatening the lady on the phone, but I've heard there are other recordings and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to listen. So I don't know what's going on. So I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's calmed
it's
down a little bit now, but
okay.
they're fighting it. It's a thing. So he's trying to move on. But like you
How do
said,
you
with
fight it and you're
court, trying to pay the girl off 10 million and she still said no.
can you imagine
Did you
your
not
child?
have so if you're going to have this kind of behavior, you don't have NDAs in place, proper paperwork to say, okay, you can't do this? Or does he just really think, did he really just think, oh, nobody's going to say anything? You'll never try me like that.
Honestly, Pete, the more that we live, the more it just seems like people really just be out here. People with money be out here thinking
Untouchable.
it's all good, untouched, and people, I guess, make them feel that way. And it's like I just could not look. I'm not a man. I don't know if I was born a black man. I just could not envision myself ever thinking that I have the upper hand in this society. I don't care how much money or whatever I got. I will say that, but NDAs do not apply when it's criminal activity. So if it's criminal, if you can have people sign NDAs, but if a criminal act takes place, that's all she wrote. It you can break an NDA for criminal activity. If they come and ask you questions, it's over. So
So the
again,
lawsuit she
the
can file
criminal
because of rape.
activity
Yeah.
is for
Well,
rape. Then your NDA don't stand. If there was an NDA, it does not stand if it's criminal activity. So it's and again, it's always goes back to they let white men do this or whatever. It sure do. You should know
I'm
that going in.
sorry. I'm sorry to all victims of any kind of sexual assault, physical assault, any kind of assault. I have been blessed to not have to go through that. Um, Even the guys that have given me like those vibes, I've been able to get away from them. But I do know people who have gone through those awful abuses, and it takes a toll. And for these people to continue to get away with it really pisses me off. So if you did it, you got to pay the price. If you didn't do it, like you said, if it's false and somebody's trying to do some BS about you and just saying stuff because they know that that's a weapon to go against you, then that's wrong too. But for the ones that are doing, and we know, and to men, you know your homeboy who's a dog, talk to him. If you want to let your daughter, your sister date them, hello, talk to them. Hey man, chill out. And some of them you can't. Some of you can't do it.
Just want to say, it has happened to me
I'm so sorry.
as well. It's fine.
So
It's been a long time. But yeah, so
so you
I just
know.
yeah, I don't know. It's things are, I don't know, all this stuff just kind of roused me up.
Yep.
It roused me up, man. But that's also why I'm like, people that be out here lying about it also, I don't understand if you're found to lie about it. I don't understand as to why there's also not any repercussions for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Monetarily, sure, but I don't understand. It's just like if people go through this and then you out here lying about it, I don't understand why there's literally no recourse of action.
Right.
It makes no sense to me.
It's a form of power.
Weaponizing that, or which part?
Well, you kind of threw me for a loop now,
I'm
because
sorry.
now it's
I'm sorry. I'm
yeah,
sorry. You were,
gotta
because
kind of sit with that.
I was gonna say it when you were saying that, and I was like, wait, hold on, because it'll be random for me to bring it up at the end. I was in high school, and I was attacked in a parking lot. So I was at a Dunkin' Donuts, and the manager came outside. The manager came outside.
I'm sorry, Shaun. And here you are minding your business at a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I used to love. First of all, donut holes. Okay, that's
Yep.
all we needed. Okay, I was finna head to a get together and get some donut holes. And this, I'm assuming he was like, I don't know if he was like a homeless man. I don't know, but I don't even know how the managers sing. Well, it was nighttime, so I guess I don't even know if it was people inside. I just know the manager came out. I don't know if the man had always been giving him problems or what, but yeah.
The
So
manager came out and saved you,
yeah,
or the manager did it?
no, I'm so sorry. The manager, he came out and
Okay.
stopped. Yeah. So, and I ran.
Yeah.
And I was not alone.
Mhm.
And the person that I was with, she ran and left me. But also a high school kid. So, but she left me, like, so I was the one that got stuck. Um, and then the man came out. The manager came outside and got the man, stopped him, and I just ran. I got to my car and left. But yeah, I wasn't alone, but it was just me that got attacked. So I was at a funeral the other day, and a lot of people from school, And then so afterwards, people are just talking like, "Oh my God, hey, and remember that was your friend? Where's she at?" I was like, "I don't know where she at." And they was like, "Oh, okay. Well, are you not tight anymore or something happened?" And I was like, people, it's like 20 years later, people grow up and move and stuff. And I hadn't really kept in contact with her after she moved. But actually, after that, it was just all kind of like, it bothered me. So
Yeah.
she left me, like, she couldn't even see me where I was, end up on the side of the building. So she couldn't even see me where I was at. She just dipped, and that was
Didn't go get help. Just
really a friend, a really
not a friend.
she was a friend, and so it just kind of fell off after that. So, but yeah, that manager came outside. It couldn't have been that late. We were headed to a get together, so it was dark, but it wasn't like midnight or nothing. It was probably like 9 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock or something. So
I'm so sorry.
this
I can't.
is not.
I know it wasn't supposed to go there, but as we do, I'm sorry.
Oh, P.
Yeah.
Years and years and years ago.
It
Okay.
doesn't doesn't matter.
Well,
I'm still sorry that happened to you. And as we continue to work with the little Shonda and the little Phyllis, with the work that we're doing with this podcast, I pray that you continue to work through that in your therapy sessions.
thank
And
you,
even
Lord,
after
for
today.
therapy.
Yes, once again, thank you, Lord, for therapy. And even after we finish recording, I want you to still be okay because, like you said, we didn't anticipate this coming up and out.
I haven't thought about it in a while. It's not. I'm not into talking about it. Really,
Yeah.
it's not something I talk about. But I was like, I don't want. I also don't want people to think I'm out here like railing against accusers. It's not that. It's actually.
It's
It
personal.
just seems to be so prevalent. Yeah, it's personal, but it seems to be so prevalent in our community. And when you look at, it's just like when you look at the numbers, it's not adding up. And so, like, to me, it's like, again, it's a weapon. Like you said, that was the exact right word. It's being used as a weapon. And there are people that really uh go through these things and be going through these things with regular everyday people, so they can't go sue somebody for $1 billion. Meanwhile, you over here like, oh, let me get some money. So I don't feel any kind of way against people when it's found out that they were not right. Like when the case or whatever got dropped with Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that lady, everything she said was just wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, we was actually alive. Well, of course it was alive. But it was like they were big time stars at this point. Now, whatever she said about Puffy, look, probably true.
Who
Look, I
knows?
don't know. I can't speak to that. But she started talking about Jay-Z. And it's like, no, we were actually following them at this time. And then when they started coming about with the dates and stuff, don't like, no, actually, Ticketmaster said he was here on this day. And then you said it's at this house that looked like this when there's actually not a house like this. It's like, have you been to New York City? Like, there's not. And then she was talking about the clubs, like that club is actually located in this state over here and all that stuff. And then finally they're like, we're just gonna drop it. So when he like the next day was like, all right, now I got a suit against this guy. I'm like, take him for everything he got. And I'm like, why we can't get the girl too? Like this, the girl daddy even was like, this, I'm sorry, guys. I don't recall this happening. But daddy. So it's so when people go get that outlandish, I'm like, there should be some kind of recourse.
Yeah. For the
Now that being
liars.
said, Tony Busby is also the guy, though, who's representing the lady that's suing Shannon Sharpe.
Mm-hmm.
So on one hand, it's like, okay, this is what he does, which people said before this is what he does. Nobody believed him until the suit against Jay-Z got dropped. But then on the other hand, it's like, but would he come right back and
Yes.
make something up against another high profile black man? Like, that seems stupid. So now it's like, I don't know. I don't know, but
And that's
it just makes me upset. And it makes me upset how they just keep falling for it. Like, there's some things that you can actually protect yourself against. And they just keep walking right into it.
mm-hmm.
If you're doing dirt, they gonna get you, black man.
And this particular thing with Shannon, they came to him with he offered $10 million to settle before they went public with this. And she declined that for 50.
So it wasn't so she wanted 50.
Ultimately. But he came when they initially approached him with this suit before it became public. Shannon and his team offered $10 million and they declined. She declined it.
And said,
And
no,
then
I want 50. And they were like,
and then brought
no.
everything public. Correct. And that's when everything else went public.
On the one hand, I was listening to somebody say that somebody with money, clearly, because it's like, if you have so much money and you know that your name getting out in this stuff is really going to cause irreparable harm, then why wouldn't they give money to make it go away? Whereas people, irregular, everyday people, like, oh, you just gonna give her $10 million, you're guilty. But I do understand with people who got like 200, 500 million, whatever. I'm not saying that's Shannon because I don't, probably not. Who knows? But people who have that much money, I do understand. Okay, $10 million is nothing to not be for your career not to go away.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. Like, I see, of course, both sides, but
She said
it's just
no,
a
she
big old
wanted more.
mess. And after Michelle, he should have, this should not even be a thing after Michelle. I don't know what.
But that's the
It's
thing.
like a,
It was happening. It was coming. It was quiet.
oh, it was already going on.
It was going
Oh, yeah,
on
because you
when
said she
they
got
offered.
jealous because.
It was going on, and then I guess she came up with the lawsuit with all of the accusations, and then the $10 million was offered. She countered with 50. And then that's when they said no, and then so everything else came out. So, Shannon, sir, what are you doing?
You know. Also, I haven't loved Shannon ever since the Amanda Seals interview, which
Oh,
went off
so
the
your mother's
rails.
white?
And it's like, who's doing your research?
She's like, no, my mom is not white. What?
Like, how? And so, and Amanda's gone through her own thing after that interview because I used to be really, really down for Amanda, but it did get to be a little bit too much, especially just because going into election, it was just, I was trying to protect my peace. So I had to then, certain people I just couldn't, like, I support you, but I can't take that in every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was one of those people, which that made me sad because I really always been a supporter of hers. But I can say after that, I was looking at Shannon sideways. I'm like, he really don't know how to talk to women. Like, he really, and I'm not saying just
Clearly.
off of that, but then you look back at, people have been saying this about him the whole time. I just never noticed.
Mm-hmm. They've been joking. They're like, Shannon, you need to settle down with somebody your age. Leave these 20-year-old girls, white girls alone. Like, specifically, multiple people have
I
been
thought they
saying it.
was joking.
Right. And it was right there in our face this whole time. And he still wasn't listening.
And I really didn't think Michelle was a white lady. But again, I only listened once.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not listening
And
to
I
that.
was like, I can't listen to this. This is gross because
That's
it's
ew.
Shannon.
Ew.
Yeah, but yeah, interesting combo today. We went sideways.
Friend.
We went sideways.
Yeah, this was not on the docket.
It never we never end up we never really end up with what's on the docket, do we?
No.
Like, yeah, ever.
But again, to
Sorry, I hit the mic.
you and anyone else who has had to go through this, my words don't even, me saying sorry probably don't even touch the emotion and processing of all of that. But I'm sorry. I hate that it happened. And this is why women, when it was that whole thing, when a man versus a bear, that was the whole point.
Right.
And men were getting offended because we were choosing that, but there was a reason. There's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason. And not all men. We have to say it, but it's a good amount.
But hold the ones accountable who are
Hold the ones.
doing the thing.
Mhm.
And for some reason, it always it's almost like the way they talk, you could just tell. I actually, who knows, right? Because I'm a woman. But if you sit in a group with your boy and he's saying certain things that lend themselves to certain things, you have to at least be strong enough to be like, I don't even want to hear that then. Go talk about that with somebody else then. You know what I mean? But I do think people can't wrap their brain around things that happen to other people. And I think that also means men and women. The same way that some white people may have a problem understanding like their privilege or things like that. Black men get that. Like, but then when we talk about men versus women, they don't seem to, oh, I can't get, yeah, like, yeah, because you're still a part of the system. So now it's you. Now
Yeah.
you're on that other side. So it is hard as a human being to wrap your head around something that other people go through and not you. It is hard. Likely, though, that or something similar or similar vibes is going to happen to you before your life is over. It will behoove you to believe people, but it will behoove you to um try to you can't wrap your brain around it, but then acknowledge to yourself, maybe this is just such a huge thing I can't wrap my brain, like, even that's a start. But people just be out here like, oh, this shit's not going down. It's like,
Like, no.
you can
Somebody
prove
you
this.
know, whether they've told you or not. It's somebody you know.
And if people get out here and act like, why you act like that? Why do you have anxiety? Or why do you not want to, I don't go to the gas station at night? If I got to leave the house, I better have some gas. If I if I got to go to if I'm just going to my friend, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I don't like the gas stations because dudes be hanging out front. Most of them don't mean nothing about nothing. Ain't nothing going on. But
Mhm.
still, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like being uh approached really at all. And I've always been a person that has been approached just because of the way I'm physically shaped. So when I was in high school, like, my face looks young, but I always have been approached by older men. And I hate that. I hate it so much. I hate it. So it's like, if we're going certain places or something, I'm telling my boyfriend, like, well, he already knows at this point. This is not even a conversation. He's
Yeah.
getting out, he's doing all the things. And if we pull up to a gas station, he got to go inside and there's men standing out front. He not parking right there. Like,
Yeah.
no, you know what? Park me at the actual pump. How about that? And you going things like that. But there's certain things you connect, certain things you don't connect. But just bring a woman, period. If a woman tell you she's uncomfortable, or even if she don't tell you, she just moving a certain way, just go with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
And be a protector. I'll say this too. Even today, as a grown adult, when I hang out with my friends, when we walk out to our cars, I do not leave until everybody's in the car has started, and we're driving. Because of a story back when we were in school, somewhere at the club, everybody was leaving, and everybody just pulled off, and the girl's car didn't start, and someone came and attacked her. And from then on, for me, in my mind, I'm not leaving anybody. The car has to start. You have to actually pull off. And I keep my pew pew with me.
You better keep that pew pew.
We in the Sunshine State here in Florida. I am a card carrying.
Y'all can do everything.
Yeah. And I don't want to have to use it, but I will.
Right.
But those type of things we have to be aware of at all times.
Let me tell you something, P. I was dating this guy, and he, as guys do, had a previous life, we'll say that, involved in some things. And so there will be times where he'd be like, XYZ is actually going down right now, so I need you to just keep your head. We're going to walk out. We were in a grocery store one time getting crab legs, and he turned around to me and he was like, this guy over there is watching us, and he's like, so we're going to go to customer service. We're going to buy gum or something at customer service so I can see if he follows us, and so I can I just want to see something. We go to customer service, and the guy follows us, and he's like, pull your card out. So I pull my card out like I'm finna pay, and a guy comes and stands like to my left but behind me so he can see the numbers I'm typing in. And then my boyfriend he puts his hand on my hand, and he's like, oh, never mind, I got it. And he pays in cash. Mm-hmm. Then we walk to the car. When we get in the car, and he said, I'm going to go across the street to the gas station. I said, okay. I was like, what's going on? And he's like, we're being followed. He pulled up behind you so he could see the numbers on your card in case you put your number in, so that when they rob us, he'll know the number to put in. Wow. And I was like, sir, come on. We go across the street to the gas station. He parks, and he said, I'm going to go inside now, but you're going to be okay in the car. And I was like, now you going to leave me in the car after all this? He's like, you're going to be fine. He said, I'm going to go in the gas station because they're going to come in behind me in the gas station. Oh, because when the guy was watching us at the crab leg counter, he was on his phone. So he was watching us and talking into his phone. What he was doing was describing our appearances. They work in groups, P. Mm-hmm. So he said, I'm going to go in the gas station now, and so I can see who's all involved. He goes in the gas station. Meanwhile, it's his home gas station, so he knows the guys behind the counter, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He walks in the gas station, and he turns around and faces the door. Two guys walk in. One of the guys he knows because the life before.
Yeah.
And the guy looked at him. These two guys walked in. He had turned and faced the door. They walked in, and the guy was like, oh, no, not him. Not him. And they turned around and left. So he came back out to the car, and he told me what happened. And I was like, you was right? And he was like, I told you I was right. He's like, no. They work in groups. So one tells you who the mark is. The same person or another person might see if they can catch their card number, whatever. They say what kind of car they're in. The other people in the group follow them to the next destination. And he said, I was going in the gas station to spend some more money, so they needed to come on in and see what I was doing. But he knew that guy.
Wow.
He knew that guy because the guy I was dating also had family who was in the streets, who was actually locked up at the time. And he was like, we used to run together. And he said, and I know where his mama and his sister live, because we all used to run together. So he walked in and he saw me and he literally said, not him. And they turned around. They had picked the wrong one. Then a few months later, it actually was April, because my friend's birthday in April. We was going to her birthday party at the club, and it was Final Four weekend in Atlanta. All the criminals is out Final Four. We was at the club. We all parked separately. We separated, but as we were walking back, my friend was drunk because it was her birthday. And I turned and I seen a guy following us. Well, you at the club, guys are gonna follow. So you thinking, oh, he's going to his car, or oh, he want to talk to a girl, but he was on the phone. And that brought me back to that day we was in Kroger. They get the drunk girl in a car. Me and my other friend had parked at a separate parking lot. So we walk and then we separate, because I'm at the other end of the parking lot and my car is actually in the last spot at the back. I go in the parking lot, I start walking. A car pulls up to me on my left, 2 guys. I know the way a guy look at you if he want to talk to you.
Yeah.
They pulled up and they slowed. So they were literally just slow riding next to me. And I looked and I looked him in his face, and it was like the devil. I'm sure he don't look like the devil. But something immediately, when he looked at me, it was immediately like, danger, danger, trouble, trouble.
Danger. Yeah.
So then I called to my friend who was in the parking lot over, but I could still see her walking. I was like, Nicole. I was like, I thought we was parked over here, girl. We parked over there. And she's like, yeah, right here. And I said, I swear I thought. And I booked it across the parking lot and went and got in her car. And we sat and watched. They had, the where I was parked where my car was parked being the last spot, it was next to the fence. Like there was only one way in, one way out that parking lot. I would not have known what to do in that situation if we had not been targeted at Kroger that day because of the boy that I was dating. And he ran down the whole play, and then I saw it in action. I saw a man on the phone following girls, just like, oh, I'm going to my car. And then there was another part of the group that came specifically for me. So anytime I feel a thing anyway nowadays, I'm like, nope, it's the devil. Something's going down. I'm out of here. And thank you to my friend Nicole, because I got in her car. I told her what was happening, and we sat there and we watched them leave. And then she drove me over to my car. I got in, and then we just left together, and we drove together for a minute, and then we went, to our homes. But people really out here, man. And you don't even know. I would have never known, except I was just dating a guy who used to, I don't know if he did the things. I don't know. But his group did the things. And so he ran it down. And the only thing that saved us that day was that he was who he was. And they knew him because we was in his neighborhood. So anytime I'm like, somebody tell me something, I got it. I got it, God. I don't care who the messenger is.
That awareness and discernment. And like you said, around big events, now sex trafficking is happening a lot more.
Yes.
We all just have to be aware and just keep your head on a swivel. Look out for one another and try to protect ourselves as much as possible.
If you get the feeling, go with it.
Apologize
later, or, or just chalk that up to, oh, well, I was wrong. Maybe you're wrong, but maybe you're not. If you get the feeling, go with it.
Protect yourself. My prayers for peace, protection for everyone listening.
Absolutely. Be safe, guys. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Want to stay locked in with us so you never miss an episode? Visit everythinghaschangedpodcast.com and join our email list. That way you'll be the first to know about new episodes and all the fun stuff we have coming your way. Meet us over there.